The XYZ Line, or Matallana Line, was a system of fortifications built during the Spanish Civil War in order to defend the capital of the Second Spanish Republic in Valencia, Spain. Unlike the Maginot Line, or the Iron Belt of Bilbao, which were expensive systems of fortifications and bunkers made of reinforced concrete, the XYZ Line was a simpler system of defenses in depth consisting of trenches and bunkers that took advantage of some of the most difficult terrain in Spain. In the Iberian System ranges to the north and northeast of Valencia, the defences were built to withstand bombardment by either heavy artillery or 1,000-pound aerial bombs. Background: following the success of the Aragon offensive resulting in the nationalist armies reaching the Mediterranean Sea, the Republic was split in two. The Spanish Republican army was in disarray and the road to Barcelona was open for conquest by the nationalists. Even General Vicente Rojo Luch said that Barcelona could have been taken with less force and in less time than in January 1939. The nationalist generals and Francisco Franco's German and Italian allies expected a swift attack against Barcelona. Nevertheless, Franco decided to turn south against the capital of the Spanish Republic at Valencia for fear French intervention in Catalonia, following the Anschluss. Furthermore, he did not want a swift end to the war but a war of annihilation against the Republic to crush all opposition. Dionisio Ridruello said, "A long war meant total victory." Franco chose the crueler option which, from his point of view, was also more effective. Nationalist offensive. The nationalist offensive started on the 25th of April, with General José Enrique Varela's Army Corps of Castile, Antonio Aranda's Galician Corps, and Garcia Valeno's formation, but the advance was halted on the 27th of April. On the 1st of May, the nationalists continued their offensive, advancing on three fronts from Teruel, the Mediterranean Sea coast, and a central column moving between them through the mountains. The nationalists found it slow going due to rainy weather in March and April that slowed the offensive. The difficult terrain that aided the defense of Republican forces being driven back before them, and the dogged determination of the Republican troops, reinforced with new weapons brought in from France. Soviet Super Mosca fighters with 4 machine guns, 40 Grumman FF fighters and anti-aircraft guns. On June 13, Castellón fell to Garcia Valeno's corps after several days of fighting, but they were halted short of Sagunto, where the mountains of the Sierra de Espadon came close to the sea. With the fall of Castellón, the nationalists had a Mediterranean harbor into which munitions and food could be brought to the nationalists' troops in this front. The nationalists were surprised by the resistance of the Republican forces, and General Alfredo Kindelin tried to persuade Franco to abandon the operation. The Condor Legion was exhausted and was eventually withdrawn from the front. Nevertheless, Franco ordered the attack to be continued and Valencia be captured by July 25. By the beginning of July, the nationalists reinforced the front with 3 divisions of the Corpo Truppe Volontarie, led by General Mario Berti, and 4 divisions of General José Solchaga's Turia Corps. Furthermore, the nationalists had 900 cannon and 400 aircraft in this front, and had just received about 50 Italian medium bombers. Opposing the nationalists, the Republicans had the 6th Army Corps of General Leopoldo Menendez's Army of the Levante. On the 5th of July, Garcia Valeno attacked from Castellón, but he was stopped by the Republican forces led by Colonel Duran and General Menendez at the Sierra de Espadon. The final push of the nationalist offensive began on the 13th of July. To the west, Solchaga's corps moved south from Teruel with Varela's corps and the Italian CTV on the flank to the east, and the Garcia-Vallino formation tried to advance down the coast. After some determined resistance at Moreda, Rubilos and Sarrion, the Republican line in the Sierra del Toro crumbled. The Nationalists then advanced 60 miles along a front of 20 miles wide until they were stopped by the XYZ Line fortifications running east and west from Viva into the Sierra de Esparden. Battle between July 18 and July 23, the defenses, held by two Republican corps led by Colonels Ernesto Guimes and Carlos Romero, were successful in halting the Nationalist advance. The Nationalists tried to break the Republican defenses with waves of infantry and intense bombing raids, but the Republican defenders, through the use of well-planned trenches and protected lines of communication, were able to inflict heavy casualties on the Nationalists, suffering relatively few themselves. On July 23, the offensive was halting and the Republican offensive in the north on July 24, the Battle of the Ebro, prevented any further assaults on the line by drawing away 8 Nationalist divisions and the heavy artillery. The Nationalist offensive ended less than 40 kilometers from Valencia. Aftermath. According to Beaver, the defensive the XYZ Line was a far greater victory for the Republic than the Battle of Guadalajara. The Nationalists occupied the province of Castellón, but failed to occupy Valencia and suffered heavy casualties. The Republican army had time to reorganize and to plan the assault across the river Ebro. Furthermore, the Republican forces in Catalonia had time to rearm with the weapons received across the French frontier, reopened in March.